Kirsten, let's visit a little bit on the late group twos. That's kind of a smaller percentage for our guys here, but we have quite a few sellers. I want a few to get going on, and so let's talk about 27 XF1s and also 29 XF1s. Let's talk about them together.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and go through those two, how you would place those with the sellers.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about those guys that have been wanting to chase that early bean planted early market, capitalize on maybe some late July, early August rains during that early part of pod formation, the 27 XF1 is going to be the one that you would chase your absolute top end yield in that late group 2 with. Put it on your best acre. It has great standability, gets up out of the ground. It's a really nice, well-rounded play for that high yield, high management acre. Now the 29 XF1 is going to be your 2.9. That's going to be probably your more versatile one. Go across a broad range of soil types. Pretty good brown stem rot tolerance, good against a couple of our key diseases. So we like that as our more versatile play, maybe on some average to marginal acres as well.
Sounds good. If as a seller you're looking for a late group 2, I really think those are the two beans that we want to be steering our growers to.
So Roy, just wanted to interview you a little bit on the eastern part of Harvest Land's territory on 30 XFO for Ohio. What is that looking like?
So 30 XFOs looked really strong last year in our extended flex plots that we had throughout the state of Ohio last year. This spring looks phenomenal as well. So it's in my top 4 for emergence. So between it and our 4.0 are actually our 2 quickest beans out of the ground. So as we move east and get east of the state line into some of our heavier clay soils, especially the last couple springs we've been through, that emergence is going to be key going forward. And it seems to be a really robust plant that's filled the rows really quickly, especially if you move over to Conover, probably the fastest thing to close the rows. Now, it's not a big, tall plant like we've thought in the past where we've had like 30 X8s and 30 X6s. It's going to be a little bit more short statured, a little bit similar to like a 27 XO.
Let's kind of visit with a little bit on 33 XF1, okay?
Yeah, and 33 XF1, similar to 33 X8, fits a lot of different acres, very versatile, early 3, mid 3 product that we like to see. Got a good disease package, has good emergence, and does a really great job going across a lot of that rolling acre that we see.
Yeah, I think the guys that are going with that 33 X8, you're really going to like this bean to take a look at. Just like you said, very versatile. I think it'd be a great one to get going with. Right now, let's roll into the 35 XF1 and the 36 XF1. Those are going to be 2 big beans in our areas we work with. Both of them have some 36X6 in the background. Jake, what do you see the difference between the 35XF1 and 36XF1?
Yeah. So 35XF1, we're placing a little bit more like a 36X6. So it handles the really good dirt really well. It will handle some versatility, but it has a tendency to get short if you take it across some really tight clay knobs. But other than that, like I said, it's like 36X6 in that it cranks yield, does a really good job for a lot of guys. So I think that's going to be a great product. 36XF1 has got a little more height to it, so it'll handle a little bit more of that tougher ground. So those two companion together really well based on the 36XF1 and goes on your tougher acre, and 35XF1 maybe goes on your average.
So when we think about an agronomic package on 35XF1 versus 36XF1, the 35XF1 is probably going to be my choice for that soybean rotation. It's got good SDS scores, good phytophthora scores, and it picks up some solid stem canker resistance, which is an emerging disease we've seen in the last couple of years. Good standability with this bean. The 36XF1 has that well-rounded agronomic package to be on mini rotations and kind of go on that marginal acre.
And from what I can see too, there's just a little bit more top end probably with our 35XF1. So from the supply side, I always go back to that. That's going to be a really big play for us. And so I think everybody needs to get to really know the 35XF1s. That's probably the #1 bean they need to be taking a look at as we go into the new Extend Flex trade. So,
yep, absolutely.
So let's visit a little bit now on the 38 XF1s. That's going to be a really big play for us on the full season side. And boy, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going well with 38 XF1s.
Yeah, when we think about our elite yield potential in our late group 3, we're really excited about 38 XF1. We're going to push it on the top end acre. We're going to chase yields with it. However, I do think it has broad adaptability in the way that it has really, really strong emergence, solid adaptability for those no-till soils, early planting. It's got a pretty well-balanced disease package, and it's another one in our lineup that's actually really good on stem canker as well. So for soy rotation south of 70, we're not afraid of it in those situations.
Yeah, I think about where 38X8s went, you know, its predecessor, and then I look and see what 38XF1s have. I think it's going to go a lot of those same acres and be a really good bean on that later maturity for us in the group 3. I would see, you know, if I'm looking as a seller at the group, the 35XF1s and 38XF1s are probably going to be two really big ones for me in my lineup. So
Absolutely.